JoKoy and his Funny is Funny tour. We got to see him live. My wife Zoila, sister-in-law Yudi, and brother-in-law Raul, aka Rumi, all Spun Today alum. Shout out to them. We went on a double date to go see JoKoy in Long Island, UBS Arena, which, by the way, was a lot closer to the crib than I thought. And I'm definitely looking forward to going there again. We had a great experience there. Like the staff, the personnel, the venue was cool. It was my first time there. And we got these tickets a few months ago. I want to say maybe like 4 or 5 months ago we bought it. So I on an Instagram ad and we all decided to go. And it was for his Funny is Funny tour. Now, however, which I didn't know at the time, and we found out when we went to the show, the taping of the actual Funny is Funny hour special had already happened at this point. And this was kind of like an add-on show after the fact. And, most comics, after they, finish touring an hour and after they film, they retire that material and start developing new material. So this was his first show after retiring all the material, which was really interesting to see because one, you normally see things like that and in comics working on material in a comedy club setting. So it's cool to experience from which I've seen a bunch of other comics do that, every time I've been to a comedy club, just working on material, but never to this scale. JoKoy is so huge at this point that although I know he still does like clubs and smaller theaters and to work on material, he was doing this at the scale of an arena, which was just masterful, especially in comparison to like his opener and his middle act, which are really good, really funny. But you see the different levels of him as a closer, this arena level act comic doing what he does and not even with a full prepared set, just working on material and still commanding the attention of the crowd. And it was a great time for all of us. And it was mainly crowd work and seeing in real time how he's able to like use callbacks and reference somebody that I think the guy's name was like Hogan, and then he did like a Hulk Hogan joke and he kept like circling back to that guy like throughout the evening. And it was dope to see. And I'm definitely anticipating watching obviously the next special after the Funniest Funny. Well, I definitely want to see the Funniest Funny one to see, what I missed within like the rest of the tour of that hour, but also to see what from this first developing night is kept and evolved into future bits of his. Something else of note, which was dope, is something I never realized how important it was until going to see JoKoy, but he had a DJ with him, DJ Turbulence, shout out to him, and he was just on stage DJing and playing music throughout the entire, before the show started. And then like in between the acts, he would call up from the opener to the middle act to JoKoy and then close out the show. But in the beginning, while people are, finding their seats and walking in and stuff like that, he was just DJing. So it was like a DJ show and he was super good, played dope music. I don't know if I'm biased because he was playing like probably my favorite time period of music and genre, which was like late 90s, early 2000s hip hop and R&B. So it was playing Biggie and Jay-Z and 112. And I never realized how important that is to like setting the tone for the evening and getting everybody like amped to like watch the show. It was really cool. I really enjoyed that. And he also showed a preview to a movie that he has coming out in theaters, which looked pretty good. Definitely gonna check it out. Tiffany Haddish is in it. It seemed like not like a romantic comedy, but like it reminded me a little bit of Just Friends a little bit, which I guess was a romantic comedy, but just like the aspect of the person like moving away from home, becoming a kind of a big shot, but not really, and then coming back home. I don't know. Anyway, look for the trailer. It's called Easter Sunday. I'll actually see if I can link to it in the episode notes if I can find it. But he premiered like the trailer during this show, and that was pretty cool to see. And definitely shout out to JoKoy. He's blown up like so huge. He's obviously an arena act comic. He's on his 4th Netflix special. But if you're a fan of JoKoy, his story, like he used to sell shoes at not Macy's, I think it was like Nordstrom or something like that. And, he was a comic for, I think 15, 20 years or more when he tried selling his first special or he tried getting a special picked up by Netflix, and Netflix turned him away and said, I don't think that, folks will get it. What he decided to do at that point was self-fund it, as a lot of comics are doing now. And he was definitely a pioneer of that. Self-fund it. So he paid for everything. He paid for the taping of his own special, editing, pretty much handed Netflix over a final polished version of it and said, I know you guys said you didn't want to do the special with me, but please, take another look. And they, still said they weren't interested. And then they wound up like calling him back and saying, you know what, we're going to give it a shot. We're going to buy it from you. And the rest is history. He like blew up after that. He's now on his, he did a second, a third, and now going to be a fourth special with Netflix. Obviously the naysayers who were like, nobody's going to get it. Nobody's going to get, this Filipino heavy content. And he believed in his vision, believed in himself, believed in his creativity, produced the shit himself, and ultimately let the non-believers continue non-believing while he kept his head down, worked hard, and proved his vision right. Shout out to JoKoy. Definitely had a dope time getting to see JoKoy at the UBS Arena.